The Suns get a dub, and we are celebrating in the VIP lounge. Thank you for joining us for the PHNX Suns postgame show, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. That's right. The Phoenix Suns took down the Utah Jazz 113-112. Deandre Ayton had himself another night, and it was a thing of beauty to watch. But guys, let's get right on into our 3 points. Saul, start us off.
29 and 21, 29 points, 21 rebounds for the big fella tonight. He played hard for all 4 quarters. Got to give this man a lot of love, and that's what we're about to do.
Yes.
Mine is 4.
Okay.
It doesn't sound very big, but it came up huge. That was the number of points that Jock Landale had in the 5 minutes that he checked in the fourth quarter, added in an assist and a rebound. Those 5 points were a huge difference maker, or 4 points were a huge difference maker in those 5 minutes he was in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine is 8 of 27. It was an off shooting night for D-Book. He was able to still contribute in other ways, but just seemed like he was in a little bit of a shooting slump tonight. But we're going to start tonight's show on a positive. So, Saul, we're going to tip it off with your talking point tonight, Deandre. And we asked in the pregame show, do we believe the DA can have back-to-back nights of really great performances? And he proved us that he absolutely can. I almost want to say tonight's was a little bit better than last night.
Oh, a little bit, yeah. It was. I mean, it was significantly a step up. You know, last night he had 26 and 12. Tonight he had 29 and 21. But my quick math, I think that's 54 points, 54 points and 37 rebounds in 2 games.
Insane.
Listen, DA he has a lot of critics. I was one of them a month ago for about a 3-week stretch because I just didn't feel like he was playing hard. And I didn't feel like he was really doing the things that he needed to do to really solidify himself as a big man. When you play like this and the way he did last night and the game before that, I feel like this is now his 3rd straight solid game. That commands a lot of attention. He was dominant tonight. And he was dominant in a different way because last night he was hitting that jumper a little bit more. Today, he was just dominating down low. For all those people that kept clamoring for him to dunk, he is dunking, and he is dunking with authority. Like, he was fantastic tonight. Listen, we all want DA to do well. Like, I'm not sugarcoating that. I feel like everybody wants him to do well. You can see when DA shows up, the rest of the NBA is in trouble. Because this we have heard the phrase sleeping giant for so long in this valley, and usually we're talking about ASU sports. This time we're talking about DA and the U of A guys showing you what a sleeping giant looks like when they finally wake up. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Sorry, Anthony Totri's here. I had to throw some Sun Devil shade.
It went right over his head, though.
Oh,
wow.
I'll do it to his face if I'll do it when he's not here. Also, DA played 34 minutes tonight. You were clamoring for him to get over that 29 mark that we saw last night. He gets 5 additional minutes, has the 29
third most on the team.
And 21. I mean, that's huge tonight. He came up big. I love that we're seeing him. We were talking about it. It's like all of a sudden he realized he is bigger, stronger, and more athletic than the guys out there on the court over the last 2 nights, and something clicked. And I don't remember which Girthling said it, but they said maybe it was Pat Bev shoving him that ignited it, and I hadn't thought of that. But maybe that is. Maybe he was like, okay, that's enough. I'm going to prove that you cannot bully me in any way on this court anymore. Maybe that was the moment. We talked about in the pregame, was it Barkley saying something? But I hadn't thought about the Pat Bev thing, and
or
that's
maybe,
a big switch.
Has DA ever gotten like in a kerfuffle of that level before?
No.
As an NBA player.
Now, the last time as an NBA player, I can't recall a kerfuffle, but I will say this. When faced with a lot of adversity and a lot of like angst, I will say, like, for instance, when DA was at U of A, I was there in Oregon when the whole $100,000 thing came out, basically, and people were trying to come at DA for that, right? And that dude went off in that game and had 30 points basically all in the first half and just killed Oregon. And so I can see where maybe if this was the Pat Bev thing or it was Barkley kind of talking shit, that how it kind of gets under his skin because he does respond to that kind of negative criticism, if you will.
I agree. What my thought process around it was maybe DA finally got legitimately shoved by somebody and realized like that shit didn't hurt.
Well, and a guy like Pat Bev, too.
That wasn't a big deal. Like I can take some of this a little bit more. He shoved me and I tripped because there was a guy in front of me and I didn't want to step right on him. But maybe he realized like some of the guys in the NBA really aren't that strong and I am way stronger than them and I'm way bigger than them. I don't know. Maybe he just realized like how legitimately powerful he is.
I think it's that. And then, he took a body when he went for that dunk last night when he went up against Detroit. I think maybe that too, where he's like, oh yeah, I took contact. I absorbed it. That guy took most of the punishment. Right. I'm gonna keep going at this. I don't care if I get hit in the air. I'll be fine.
Yeah. Listen, his physicality tonight was undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
His spacing, where he was on the court, the second effort plays that we were seeing Torrey Craig come up with quite a bit. DA was coming up with those tonight. The end of the game, that was a perfect example. Like he kept that ball alive, secured the rebound, and thus secured the win. Like he was fantastic all the way around. And this is the best part. The Suns still don't know how to use him as great as they possibly can. There was too many times where DA was showing a lot of effort. He would get the rebound, he'd outlet it, and then he'd sprint up the court. If Steve Nash were on the court, I'm just going to say it like this. If we had a guy like Steve Nash on the court, or maybe if Chris Paul comes back, those outlets, those sprinting up the court, he's going to get rewarded for those.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because tonight, guys were just grabbing the ball and basically looking down. They weren't looking up the court. And DA had multiple opportunities to get some easy dunks. So if Chris Paul comes back and he can really expose that some more, it opens up everything even more, especially the outside shooting on fast break situations, which is a la like the 7 seconds or less Suns.
I'm okay with it, though, because it did force him at one point to actually dribble up the court. You and I were talking.
Yeah.
He looked around. He's like, none of you are going to, okay.
He's like,
I'm
all right,
taking
fine,
it.
I'll do this.
And we hadn't seen that from him at all
And
in
it
his
paid
career.
off.
Yes. I like it. Hopefully this is us seeing Deandre Ayton's eyes opening to what the world could really be out there on the basketball court for him in the NBA. Like they say, sometimes things just slow down for players or whatever it is. I think we might be at that moment. We talk about big men taking longer to develop. Maybe we have finally hit that threshold where the game is just clicking for him, which seems like a far cry from where we were a week ago with him. But sometimes that happens. Now we just need consistency. I don't need 29 and 21 every night, but I just need consistency where we're seeing that effort, and then I'll buy into, okay, this is the new standard. This isn't just a flash in the pan. This is the DA we're getting.
I'm sorry. I think DA is a walking double-double every single night. 20 and 10 should be the floor.
Mm-hmm.
It should be the floor. And I think we're starting to see that. And more importantly, I think he's starting to realize, like, oh, shit. How about that? If I do this, this happens. If I do this, this happens. These guys have been telling me this all this time, but until you actually start to do it and start to practice those habits, it'll never come to fruition. And we saw playoff DA. We saw NBA Finals run DA tonight and yesterday, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. The guy can play basketball. I just wish he realized that when things aren't going so great for him, and he put in the effort to do that on a day-to-day basis. And it looks like he's starting to do that.
Okay, so I'm not trying to make excuses here, but I'm just going to ask the question, 2 questions. How much of DA's lackluster performances have been maybe due to the ankle situation and the fact that Chris Paul was out and he was building chemistry with a new point guard?
I don't think.
Are we buying any of that at all?
No, because the things that were bothering him, like the ankle. Listen, if you step on the court, that means you're ready to go. Like, listen.
I know in theory that's supposed to be the rule.
No,
but
yeah, but you can't stand around and watch guys move around you and not do shit. And that's what he was doing. You got to show effort in some way, some way, shape, or form, right? And there was a lot of times, too many times, where he was just standing. He wasn't being physically aggressive. The last game against the Jazz in Utah, a lot of standing around the first 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter, he was more active. Like, so I don't feel like it's necessarily the ankle. It's just his own activity. And sometimes we've seen him go through lulls like this in a season, and it can't. In year 5, that just cannot happen. The microscope is so honed in on you. You cannot afford to do that kind of stuff. And so, yeah.
Look, I mean, I could see where he could be tentative, and he seems like a guy that if he overthinks that different things can happen. Maybe the ankle played a little bit into that. I don't think playing with Campaign had anything to do with it. He's had minutes with him in the past. What I do think is Chris Paul, to Saul's point earlier, would find him for easier buckets sometimes than we're seeing with Campaign. So maybe that led to a little bit of it on the offensive side, but it was really the defense and rebounding that was my biggest issue with DA over the last few weeks, and he's been aggressive on the boards. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he had 8 offensive rebounds tonight. That final one was his 8th, I believe, and ninth. Okay,
I think that was the one they added back.
They added back, okay, because they had taken one away. So he did it on the offensive glass, and that's all heart and hustle. Offensive rebounding. That's about just being there, knowing where the ball is and fighting for it. And he's done a great job. So look, he's engaged right now. I hope that this is what we continue to see, because he's fun to watch when he's like this.
Yeah. And it's way more fun for us.
Yes.
Like, selfishly, I want this DA because it makes it way more fun in these shows to be able to highlight great things he's doing, to be able to celebrate Big Suns wins and talk about his monster jams and things like that, instead of talking about what we had to talk about for the last couple weeks.
Yeah, listen, Espo talked about DA catching a body the other day. I still don't feel like he really caught a body. Like, when you catch that was like the high school version of catching a body. Like, when somebody was in the area, oh, you got dunked on. I'm like, bro, I didn't even jump. What are you talking about, right? At some point, he's really going to catch a body, and the internet will break here in Phoenix.
I meant that based on DA standards, that was catching a body. There was contact when he went up,
as he's been.
But yeah, look, I mean, this is fun. This is what we hope to see from DA, and kudos to him. Without him the last 2 games, they don't win those games, because he didn't have a whole lot of running mates that were doing a whole lot in either game. So he won back-to-back games for this Suns team, and that's what you want out of your number 1 pick.
Yes, and for the second night in a row, Deandre Ayton is going to be our draft king of the game.
Is he the first back-to-back?
I think this season, yeah. So he finished with 29 points, 21 rebounds. It was 20 at the end of the game, but we got news that they had added an additional rebound.
Yeah, we said that 5 times in the intro. We were trying to get your attention, but you were in the zone. You were locked in, Emma.
And he was 11 of 19 from the field. So shout out to Deandre and for back-to-back king of the game nods. This has been fun. This was a good weekend for DA. I hope that we see this continue on. Gosh, wouldn't it be so fun?
Yeah, we can ban Jim Soccer Money, by the way. Just ban him forever. Basis. He's good. All right, cool. Bye, Jim Soccer Money. You suck.
Be nice in the chat, everybody.
Don't be a dick.
Be nice in the chat. Speaking of DraftKings, finally, you always say when you pick the over on DA, it hit. Mm-hmm. Finally, I picked an over on DA and it hit. Like, I think we're turning the corner, you guys. Yeah. I think we can maybe, I'm going to be very cautious moving forward with this, and we're knock on wood. I think maybe we might be able to bet on the over on DA a little bit more here now.
That number's going up. It's not going to be 16 and a half.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. They might give him a few more games
because 17 and a half, 18 and a half.
But I think they might give him a few more games of this because Books hasn't moved a whole lot.
They don't want to lose money, Lindsay.
Yeah.
They'll move it. And then it'll become...
I don't know if they'll move it quite so fast.
It won't be like the next game.
So wait to see for Sacramento. You might be okay, but Sacramento is going to be a pretty fun game to watch too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know, but if the numbers make sense for you, I would say maybe take a peek at that on Monday before the Kings game.
Can we talk about me?
Did yours hit too?
I bet the money line for Utah at halftime.
Okay.
That hit. I said the Suns would win by 1. That hit. I mean, give me some of my flowers there, Lindsay.
So your flowers,
Thank you.
Espo.
That's what I wanted.
Basically, what we're saying is we had a pretty good night on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And if you are not on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, you absolutely should be, because it's a great way to watch sports. The two of these go together like peanut butter and jelly. It's just perfect.
Like
so if
ham
you
and
haven't
tuna.
already, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code PHNX, and place a $5 bet on any NFL team to win their game, and you're going to get $150 in free bets if they do. Those free bets can be used for any bets that you want on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Only on the DraftKings Sportsbook app with the code PHNX. Just a reminder, though, minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
One of the things that I just want to adjust real quick, so we had somebody in the chat that was basically coming at us all angry and all disgruntled and really all effed up, right?
Sorry, Utah fans.
Yeah, and talking about you guys shit on DA. Now you guys need to apologize. No, we're not going to apologize. We didn't shit on DA. He was playing poorly. He was.
It's called the truth.
And if you can't see that, I can't help you. What he was doing, though, in the last 3 games was balling his ass off, and we gave him plenty of praise for it. Like, we're going to be factual, or at least as close to factual as possible. But if you come in here all sideways and you just start calling people names, coming after Lindsay, coming after us 2 fat fucks, well, go fuck yourself. Like, we can't even see you. Because if I saw you, I would destroy you. I promise you I would.
Come at me however you want.
Just
I'm
saying.
fine with it.
Just be nice. Just be nice.
Just don't be a
But,
dick.
by the way, shout out to Joel from pregame. He said you could take the Utah +6 and win some money. He was exactly correct.
absolutely
about
right.
Yeah, you mean the Joel when I misunderstood it
That's
and I was
fine.
being
Yeah.
spicy
That's
at Joel?
fine.
Sorry,
That's
Joel.
fine.
Also, another really cool thing that you guys can do this upcoming week is hang out with us at Four Peaks again, because we're still having World Cup watch parties out there. So I'll tell us about the next one.
Yeah, the next one's going to be on Tuesday. Probably one of the biggest matches in U.S. history, because they can get out of the group stage with a win and get to the knockout stage, which will be the first time since 2010 they had done that. They've only gone to the knockout stage 6 times, but they're taking Iran on Tuesday. So we'll be there at 12 o'clock, Four Peaks. Show up at 11:30, because it will be packed. We had 250 people there for the World Cup match against England on Friday. Today, we had a little less than 200 for the Mexico-Argentina matchup. Still, both scenes crazy and loud, and it was fun. Tuesday should be even more lit, because everything's on the line. If they tie or if they lose, they're going home. They got to win. It's going to be a fun one.
Well, and you want to talk about bitter rivals. I mean, there's nothing more in opposition than Iran and the USA in every sense of it. Right? It's gonna be fun to watch. I mean, that's one you want to win for multiple reasons. One last thing on DA before we move to the next.
Oh, I have a
topic.
couple things on DA, so you're good.
What I loved, and somebody in the chat mentioned this too, the hug that DA got after he grabbed that rebound from Book, and somebody else ran in and dapped him. Like, they were genuinely excited for how well DA played and for grabbing that board to secure the win. I like seeing that. We heard all this, quite frankly, bullshit coming into the season, that this is a toxic team. There's so many problems. It's a morgue at media day, yada, yada, yada. This group still is having fun, still is supporting each other. We saw it yesterday with Dancing with That Kid. You see it in little moments like Book celebrating DA tonight there at the end. I like where this team is vibes-wise.
I agree. My things on DA actually came from the chat. So I got a couple super chats and a few comments that I want to bring up. HM, thank you for your super chat. We appreciate you. Said, we need mad DA. This was mad DA, according to HM. And if that's the case, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, somebody slap him in the face, call his kid ugly before every game.
Yeah, okay, that's a little too
Hey,
aggressive.
whatever it takes,
I
man.
don't feel like he played mad. I just feel like he just played aggressive.
I feel like
there's a difference.
I mean, yeah, because
You
he
know?
doesn't seem mad.
When you're controlled, you're just aggressive.
Yeah,
when
that's
you're
fair.
out of control and you're just flying, he didn't have a single foul tonight, so I don't feel like he was playing mad. He was just playing aggressive.
And I mean, look
and
at
smart.
yesterday. He was dancing with kids before the game. So
Yeah, exactly.
maybe
And
it's
he had
just,
0 fouls yesterday too.
Yeah, he's coming
maybe,
up big.
I mean, AHM's mad could also be a synonym for multiple things. You could say aggressive. You could insert whatever type of word you want in there. But we agree with whatever DA is playing with right now, that emotion, we want more of it.
He could have meant mad fly, yo. I mean, there's a lot of things he could have meant.
And then we also got a super chat from Manuel. Thank you for your super chat. Said, here's $2 for DA's double-double. One for the win and the other 2 for Saul's power legs.
Look, Saul's power legs deserve much more than $2. That's underselling these bad boys.
And then also, I thought this was a really cool nugget of information. Brittany said that StatMuse says the last time a Sun posted a 28-plus point and 20 rebound game was
Charles
Mari.
Barkley.
No,
Was who?
Amari.
Amari.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I actually saw quite a few people on social was like, that was very Amari-like.
What's so funny is
That reminded me of Amari tonight.
what's so funny is this was throwback day, and before the game started, they showed Charles Barkley against the Spurs in the second round, and he had 28 and 20. And tonight, DA damn near had 28 and 20, he had 29-21. I mean, listen, synergy, people. The past to the present, the known to the unknown. It's beautiful.
How the universe has just given us this great
It's
gift.
awesome.
I had never really seen the Amari comparison in watching DA in the past, but there's been a few of those dunks over the last 2 nights that you go, yeah, I could see that a little bit. You know, like I can see it, and it feels like it's come out of almost nowhere because these are athletic dunks that DA is doing. They're showing hops. It's not the hesitation, bring the ball to the hip, try to make a move. He's using instinct. It's like he trusts himself finally. And that's a beautiful thing.
Honestly, maybe it is that. Maybe he's just feeling more confident in himself.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, keep it up, DA. We're really happy. And this has been really fun to watch you play in this way. All right. Should we continue on the positive or should we go to the negative?
No, let's go positive.
All right. Jock Landale. We finally got to see Jock. Espo, this was your point of the game. It's about time.
It's about damn time. In a minute, I'm going to need a little more Jock in my life. Anyways.
It was only 5 minutes, but it was 5 great minutes.
5 minutes, 4 points, a rebound, an assist. I mean, if you look at that counts for 6 points there in a 1-point victory. That was a huge 5-minute span in that fourth quarter, especially for a guy who had not been on the court in how many games, didn't play in the first 3 quarters of this, came in and was instant offense, was instant energy, was fired up and kept his bench teammates in that game and in the right mentality. I loved what I saw from Jock and Landale Landing popping tonight. It was fun.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Listen, if you don't think the guys feed off of his energy, he almost forces it on them. You know what I mean? Like he had a rebound, then the ball was on the floor, and he was trying to figure it out, and they were grabbing his arms. They called a foul, and Jock just stood up and just screamed at the crowd like, "Let's go!" You know what I mean? And he got everybody else hyped up, and he's calling guys out like, "Let's go!" You know what I mean? Like so. It's infectious, and that's something that they have missed a little bit with him being out for the last several games in lieu of Bismack Biyombo. So I'm glad that he's back and he got an opportunity to show what he's all about because, listen, he has great fundamentals. He gets great position, has a nice float game, has a nice little hook shot. Like he can play the big as a replacement to DA just fine. So I'm glad to see him out there tonight.
Is there a world where they could coexist on the same court?
Probably not.
Yeah, I just
Busy and Jock or DA and Jock?
DA and Jock. DA's shooting game would need to improve significantly, or Jock needs to shoot from the perimeter a little bit better. But they can't. They're not interchangeable enough.
My only thought is, I think people are talking about, Jock has some defensive liability. If you could play him with another defensive anchor, I mean, if you have him out there with McHale and McHale's kind of running quarterback on defense, I think that helps as well. But tonight he did everything you could ask. I mean, especially 5 minutes. He had double the points of Biz, who had double the minutes of him. I mean, hopefully this is the start of seeing Jock back in that rotation.
And that's no shade to Bismack Biyombo. We did have a few people in the chat. Daniel was one of them that wanted us to give some flowers to Bismack Biyombo, talking about his screens, boxing out, physicality inside, shot blocks, and all the like. So this is no shade to Bismack Biyombo. I think more of what it is that I think we see a lot of potential in Jock's game and what he can be for this team. And with all the trade rumors and all of the stuff that we've been talking about literally since the start of the season because of the Jay Crowder situation, I think maybe we all got in our feels a little bit and got a little nervous that we hadn't given him enough time before potentially. It was a tinfoil hat thing, of course. There was nothing that really was substantial behind this feeling, but it made everyone nervous. And I think that's why everyone was a little bit concerned about why we hadn't seen Jock get any playing time in the last few games. But it's no shade to Bismack whatsoever. We love Busy. He's great for this team. But yeah, just wanted to put that out there. But still, happy to see Jock get some minutes and happy to see that he made the most of it.
We can't besmirch the good name Biz.
We can't. I didn't want it to feel like we were pitting the two of them against each other by any means. You know?
I mean, and it was a rough night for Biz too. No points, no rebounds. Like it was not your typical night. Yeah, he set some good screens, but he wasn't having the impact that he usually does. And one thing, Jock's rebound was an offensive rebound, which helped the Suns have 10 more offensive rebounds than the Jazz, which also led to having 13 more shots than them, which is huge when the Jazz shot better from the field, shot better from three, and shot exactly the same from the free throw stripe. Those extra possessions came up huge. Jock had one. Da had those major offensive rebounds as well. That's a big reason why this team won tonight.
I mean, listen, the Jazz are a tough team.
They are. They surprised a lot of people.
They may or may not make the playoffs, but they are a tough team. They play very well together. They're gritty on defense. Like, you got to give them credit for what they did, how they've been able to compete with the Suns so far this year in 2 games. I think we lost by 1 last time, right? Yeah. So we've broken even with the Jazz on the season. So, and listen, in terms of Jock and Biz, like when Biz goes out there, he needs to produce in the small amount of time he is out there. I think that's why you saw maybe DA come back early. I think tonight, Monty did realize DA's feeling pretty good. We need to get him out there a little bit more. Biz isn't giving us much, and Jock has been kind of whatever. He's been riding pine, so they gave him a few minutes just because maybe Biz wasn't getting the job done, and then they had to bring DA back right away. And I thought it was a fantastic adjustment by Monty. Listen, I was hard on him last night. Tonight he improved. Tonight he made the necessary corrections to try and keep his man in there, and it produced a 1-point result. You needed every advantage tonight possible to get this win, and Monty did just that.
The Matt Box Ghost in the chat said, if we give flowers to Biz, we got to give flowers to everyone. That's just not fair. So buckle up, y'all. We're going down the list tonight.
Everybody.
We are going down the list tonight. But before we hand out all of the flowers, we do have to talk about Devin Booker. Okay? Because 8 of 27 was not the best night for Devin. He had an off shooting night. But I will say, if we're giving flowers, he did contribute in other ways.
Let's not sugarcoat it, though. Devin Booker's shooting was hot trash tonight.
Yeah.
And, we're hard on DA, so I think it's only fair that you're hard on Book when he has a night like tonight. He shot far too much when he wasn't feeling it. At some point, he has to know, I got to defer to my other guys. He's talked about trusting his teammates this year. This is the kind of game that he should have trusted them a little bit more, because it was very apparent he did not have it. And you got to wonder, does DA get closer to that 40 mark if Devin decides, hey, I'm not having it, I'm going to feed him? And does Book get that triple-double, because he's not focusing so much on the shooting and gets those additional 3 rebounds at some point?
Listen, we can look at the stats and say 27, 7, 11 is a pretty great off night. And that is true. However, 27 shots and you miss a majority of them, that's what he's talking about. You basically missed 20 shots. You missed 20 shots tonight. And some of those shots were ill-advised. Pull-up threes on the fast break when he hasn't hit a three yet. Fadeaway jumpers that he usually makes when he's feeling pretty good, that weren't even coming close. Like, he was just really off tonight. And again, I love the point that you just made about, you can talk about trusting your teammates all you want when you're feeling really good and you know that you're going to have more of an impact in case somebody slips up. That's okay. I can make up for it. But when you're not on and you are off, you got to find different ways to be able to help your teammates and trust your teammates. Tonight, there was other guys on the court that were actually contributing on the offensive side. He needed to trust them more, specifically Mikal and DA. And he didn't do that. It almost cost his team, but he did do some other things in other areas, such as passing. He got 6 rebounds on one possession. I don't know if I can even count the rebound.
It was 3.
Yeah, but he had 6 in the first quarter.
He had 6 in the first quarter. Yeah.
But look, Devin almost had a third of the Suns' shots tonight.
Yeah.
That's not sustainable when you shoot like that. And he was 1 of 7 from deep. Just trust your teammates more at that point. It's okay to admit that you don't have it on a certain night.
Okay, but to be fair, Book has had to tap into old school Book of carrying the load a lot in recent games. Maybe not recent games, a lot in the past couple of weeks. So maybe there is a little bit of hesitation around the trusting that he was able to build up for a while.
But you could see DA last night dominate. You saw that's where that was heading tonight. Mikal had a great shooting night. Like, I get that old habits die hard, especially when he's had to pull them back out over the last couple of weeks. But this is the next maturation step for Devin Booker. On a night like this, he goes, all right, I don't have it. If I'm wide open, I'll take the shot, but I'm going to try to find other guys. Or he goes, I can't hit a jumper. I'm driving to the hoop as often as I can and trying to get to the free throw line. Those are the two things I want to see on a night like this from Devin Booker. And this isn't slander to Devin Booker. It's just, okay, this was a shit night from the field, and you gotta recognize it when it happens.
There's an adjustment for everybody when DA plays to the level that he's played the last couple games. It's an adjustment for everybody to trust. That just is what it is. You know what I mean? And that part of that is on Booker to adjust to DA and understand that you can trust your big fella down there because he's coming through for you. But it like I said, like it's been 3 or 4 games in a row. Like it's just got to be more consistent. And I think you're starting to see that. I hope we're going to see that more consistently from DA. Book did have some nice passes, as the chat has mentioned several times. But again, we're talking about, this is game number 20 of the season or something like that. And things are going to be fluid. Things are going to be moving around. And as long as you get the W's, things can continue to move in a positive trajectory. But Booker is going to have to, understand that he can trust his teammates a little bit more than he did tonight, and not just jack up shots like crazy, like this is 2018.
Look, I love the Girthlings. Dagoon sitting there saying, that he won't have this Devin Booker slander, and I'm okay with that, But let's be honest. If you want us to be hard on DA when he's bad, you gotta be willing to say Devin Booker didn't play well tonight, and that's okay. He doesn't have to be the man 82 out of 82. If I get 70 out of him where he's the man, that's what I need from my superstar. It's the other 12 that guys like DA got to pick it up and be the guy that night. It's okay he had a bad night. It's also okay to say he had a bad night.
Yeah, he had an off night. Like, it just is. It is what it is. Like, he missed 19 shots. Like, what do you want us to say? You want us to be like, oh, he was fantastic? Like, no, like, we would be dogging on DA if he took 27 shots and only made 8.
Yeah, but
like, I understand. Listen, the difference between what we're saying about Devin Booker is, like, it's not like we think Devin Booker's going down this spiral and he's out of control and this is just what he's been of late. No, he had a bad game. Singular, one, not a routine,
right.
not a consistent thing that we see. He's going to be fine. The greats always figure it out. And yes, Kobe shot 33 times in one game and only made 5. I understand that. But the next game they came back and probably had like an 18 for 20 game and dropped 40. Like, and that's what Devin Booker is about. So he's going to be fine.
I think the thing is that, like, Psycho in the chat, Psycho Hawk said, fair is fair. Booker had an off night, so got to speak to it at least. And that's exactly what it is. The difference about like there's people who are like, if this were anybody else, we would be ripping them to shreds and blah, blah, blah. The difference is Book has shown us consistently who he is, and he has off nights versus the opposite when we're asking somebody to be consistent and they're working towards it and they have majority off nights or not quite there yet. There's a difference when you're talking about specific players. It can't all be the exact same shade of gray.
And I'm not saying Devin should have shot 8 times, but I would have taken 24 with, with what, 3 other possessions, 4 other possessions where he passed to somebody else. Like, I get it. Shooters shoot. That's the way it works in this league, but it was an off night. But look, I'm still going to say it. This is Devin Booker's MVP season, right? Even in an off night, he goes 27, 11, and 7 in this, and has helped the Phoenix Suns down what you could call 3 starters if you want to count Jay as a starting caliber player. And they're at top of the West and within striking distance of being on top of the league. So Devin Booker is having an MVP caliber season. He had an off night where he shot bad, and we're just saying, hey, I'd just like to see him pass a few more times in this game.
Yeah.
I wanted the triple-double. I don't need 27 shots. I needed 10 assists out of you, and you fell 3 short. I want to see the triple-double.
I also don't need to see Devin Booker playing 39 minutes.
That's true. That's another portion of this that we might be overlooking too, is how exhausted Devin might be. Like, I get he's young. I get he can handle it and he wants to have that. However, how many times have we had conversations where like, Monty, Book can't play the entire 4th quarter. Yeah. You can't be running this guy into the ground this early into this season. Yeah. So maybe it's starting to add up. Maybe Book just needs to take a really good nap.
Look, if you guys want all positivity and not paying attention to anything, there's a post-game show they show on television that'll give you that, all right? And that's fine. That's for some people. But here, we're going to give it to you the way it is. When we see something that's bad, we're going to call it out. That's just the way we're going to do it here.
I'm not. I'm giving flowers to everybody. Devin Booker, here's your flower because you almost had a triple-double, and we will take that.
Can we give Ish Wainwright a triple-double?
A triple-double? Yeah, let's do it.
For that hair. For that hair. The hair itself deserves a flower.
Listen, Ish Wainwright. So I was watching, how the Suns post walking videos and all the stuff of the guys in their street clothes before the games. I don't know which one had a better fit tonight, Jock Landale or Ish Wainwright. Both of them ate tonight. And I was like, this looks so good. And Ish, his hair was a lot more bigger. He had like combed it out a little bit, and I loved it. It looked so good on him tonight. Hey, so he must have been feeling himself.
Jock and Ish come in looking good and go 4 of 5 from the field. I mean,
Ish had 2 threes tonight.
I know. 10 points. They win by 1. Without those 10 points, they lose by 9. That's just math.
I'm a big fan of it.
By the way, flower to Landry Shamet tonight for being able to stand up without falling over. So congratulations.
Flower to Landry Shamet. Finally back on the court. Finally feeling healthy. We love that. Always great when players are feeling healthy. We will continue on this flower chain. But for right now, I'm going to give you guys flowers by letting you know about some really great deals that you need to check out before the weekend is over. First and foremost, our friends over at More Furniture, who helped us set up our office and our studios here at PHNX, are having a Black Friday sale at their local Arizona More Furniture showroom. So if you guys are in the market for new furniture, we highly recommend you check them out because not only are they beautiful, they're also really comfortable. And that's like crucial when you're buying furniture, especially for your home. You can check out all of the offerings they have at morefurniture.com as well, just to kind of go into the showroom with a little bit more preparation, knowing what you're looking for. And in addition to that, PHNX has got you covered for all your gifts for Christmas this year with our Black Friday through Cyber Monday sales.
Cyber weekend right now.
Yes.
Weekend.
So basically in our locker at phnxlocker.com, you can get up to 90% off. Like these sales are legit.
You can get a shirt for under $1.
Yeah.
Go find it.
And 2 additional things. So for everyone, when you spend $75, you get a $15 gift card in return. And if you are a PHNX diehard, one of our beloved members, you also get 20% off throughout the entire year. And it's stackable on all the sales that are happening this weekend. So you get even more of a discount. So if you haven't checked it out yet, we highly recommend. The link is in the bio. Again, phnxlocker.com. Obviously, it's also all over our socials. So if you need help finding that, you can find it all there.
Can I just, this is a plea to more furniture. Can we get my girl Lindsay over here a footstool?
Yo, I need it.
Because her feet don't touch the ground and we need to help her out. So
I just feel like crossing your legs like this every single day is not great for like the blood flow in your legs, you know?
Oh, it stretches out my my glute,
Oh, okay. Well,
which
good
is
for
good
you,
for my
Saul.
back.
I feel like it cuts off the blood flow in your calf sometimes.
No, my calves are big. I don't need to
Okay,
worry
well,
about that.
I'm not on that level. And I'm not as tall as you. Maybe it's different when your feet is on the ground, so you have support and you cross your leg, versus when you have no feet on the ground and you're crossing your leg. I just want to be able to touch the ground.
I'm just trying to get you some help.
That's all.
That's why I asked.
That's all. All right, back to
Real
handing
quick,
out some flowers.
there was a comment earlier in the chat asking about this beautiful Suns brew right here.
Oh.
It's empty. Sorry.
Never mind, Espo. This was my shtick. I was going to fucking say it.
But it is coming soon.
That's it.
Are we no
Coming
longer in
soon to
rhythm?
Four Peaks near
Goddamn.
you.
Oh, it's empty. No shit, Sherlock. I was going to say something about that.
We had a 2-game run where we were in lockstep.
Oh, my God.
Tonight is not that night.
No.
I just sat here for 5 minutes letting these two talk just so I could say that one fucking thing.
I mean, you could have joined in.
I'm sorry, Saul.
No, I don't want to give flowers to anybody else.
Why?
I'd like to give flowers to Saul.
No.
I-
No,
No,
Saul
enough
can't
with the
have no
flowers.
Saul can't have no flowers.
Oh, my God.
Well, what else do you want to talk about, Saul?
Oh, I guess we could just keep handing out flowers because that's what we want to do today. Let's do it.
Flowers to Emma for not falling asleep behind the
Yeah,
mat.
flowers to
Flowers
those
to you.
daggers that Emma is throwing our way for all the flowers there we are handing.
Nothing is real right now. We are on a floating rock,
Emma's so tired. you
and that
guys.
is my conclusion.
Oh my goodness, my
Good
legs
night.
hurt. So Gerald is waiting for Deandre Ayton, the man of the hour. So he'll be joining us hopefully within the next 10 minutes or so. So
My God, we got to stall for 10 more minutes?
We have two options.
More flowers.
We can continue handing out flowers and talk about a few things additionally from this game, or we can tap into our waiting for Gerald segment where we talk about nonsense until Gerald gets here.
Waiting for Gerald. I don't need any more flowers.
Well, we did have a couple. Well, we had a question in the pregame that you asked about that I thought was pretty interesting where
I
we
did?
could talk about experiences.
Oh, yeah.
But then we had another question before the game ended that was brought up by our Anthony Totri. Do we want to go with either one of those?
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No,
Here,
no.
I have a trivia question.
Come on, but it was so fun.
No, absolutely
Oh my
not.
gosh.
I do have a trivia question for everyone in the chat, though, just to help you guys out here. There are 3 NBA players, present or former, all included, right? Who have, I don't know exactly what the parameters are but this is how I was told, who have charted as musicians. And I'll give you 2 of them. You have to tell me who the third one is,
Well, they had
but don't Google it.
You can't say charted as a musician because that's not accurate. In
Okay,
this
well, that's
sense.
how I was told.
So like have been at the top of the charts.
Top of the
Okay.
chart.
Yeah,
Have
It's
been
like
at the
Raymond
top of the
Tisdale
chart.
charted.
There we go.
with a song.
Yes. So it's Damian Lillard is one, of course. Who was the other one that I said?
Shaq.
Shaq. Okay, right. So Dame and Shaq. Who is the third one? And don't Google it, but if you can get it right, I'll give you a bunch of flowers. While we're waiting for all of that stuff to roll through,
Tangible,
Can I ask a question?
actual real flowers that she will ship to your house.
Espo will ship them to your house.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
We talked a little bit about this while we were watching the game, but jerseys. Obviously, the Suns wearing the throwbacks today. I'm hesitant. I love those jerseys, but as an almost 39-year-old man, I don't feel like I can go buy a jersey of a guy that is A, younger than me, and B, that we talk about for a profession. Like, I don't feel right wearing a Devin Booker jersey as much as I love those jerseys. Am I in the wrong here?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just your own.
Does that make you feel better?
Am I
or
just
no?
thinking big J journalism right now? Is
I
that where
think
that
so.
comes from?
I think you might. I do. I get what you're saying. But honestly, like, if you want a jersey, then buy a jersey. If you want to wear a jersey, wear a jersey. Like, I have certain ways that I prefer people to wear jerseys, but who gives a shit what I think? If you like it, wear it however you are comfortable.
You do.
And I think you should wear it if you want to wear a jersey. And I don't think you should worry whatsoever about what other people think.
Oh,
as long
that's
as
not-
you're comfortable in it, then you should rock the hell out of that jersey.
I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I mean, I look like this and I come out on camera. So
Then why do you ask?
like, because it's internally me, I'm like,
But you don't give a
I cover
shit.
this guy for. It's more of a I cover this guy for a living kind of thing.
If you had
Yeah.
it, that would have been the time.
Had
You
what?
know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, but I have a side question because I'm not saying that. Lindsay,
What?
you have a preferred way for people to wear jerseys?
Yeah.
Is it different for different sports jerseys?
Yeah. I'm talking about basketball jerseys, sleeveless jerseys.
Yeah,
I
so-
don't like wearing jerseys without something underneath.
So
I
Oh,
prefer
yeah.
like a long sleeve or a hoodie underneath a jersey versus rocking a jersey by itself. That's just a preference though.
It's hard for me to buy another person's jersey
Why?
because I just
See, so
I-
then you understand where
like,
Espo's coming from.
No,
Exactly.
no. I put my own name on the
The
jersey because I don't
fuck?
give a fuck. Like, because I know I'm not trading myself. I'm always going to be a fan. Like, so buying for instance, back in the day, I really wanted to buy an Anquan Bolden jersey, and I decided against it. I was in the military. I decided against it, and sure enough, he left and he went to another team. And it's just now, what do I do with that jersey? I'm not going to keep wearing that jersey. It's stupid. He doesn't even play for the team. After he leaves the league, maybe I'll wear it as like a throwback-ish kind of thing. But I've just never been about that life. That's
See,
why I
so
don't.
then you get it.
That's why I don't wear jerseys. I thought he was talking about the insecurity of wearing a jersey.
No,
period.
he was just
No,
saying
I'll
it's
still
weird
wear
to
a
buy
jersey.
somebody else's jersey. Like he feels weird about it.
Oh, I thought you meant you just feel weird wearing a jersey.
I don't have a problem. Like, as long as, like Lindsay said, I'll wear a T-shirt under it.
I mean,
feel
I
just
probably
fine.
took it more towards the wearing side of things, but I was just in generality,
was
like get a
thinking.
jersey
Okay,
if you want
gotcha.
a jersey. Okay, so real quick, let's go back to the little trivia question. I don't think a single person has dropped
Nobody
it in
got
the
it.
chat. Not a single
You're never gonna
person.
get it.
You're never gonna
No,
get it.
I was in shock when you.
Okay,
told
I'll
me.
give you a hint. Their name starts with a T.
And
Does
they're-
that help?
How about they're European?
That might help. Name starts with a T and they're European. So continue to
Yeah.
figure out if you guys can guess that one. Okay, so should we read one more ad to try and
Sure.
stall a
Why
little bit
not?
for
Why
Daryl?
not? This is we ran out of
Sorry,
flowers, I
guys.
guess.
Underdog Fantasy is a heck of a lot of fun when you combine them and sports
Hey,
as well.
Joel Ramirez got it.
There we
Hey.
go. Joel got it first. Xavier put it down there as well. It is none other than Tony Parker.
The French sensation himself.
Yes, I was so shocked when I learned this.
I'm gonna have to go listen to Tony Parker.
I
rap,
know,
aren't I?
right? Now I need to figure out what his number one song is
It's better
So-
than whatever that rock song, the rock
that I
song
brought
you-
up a
you
while
brought
back.
up.
That thing
And-
was horrible.
And I went and listened to it.
It did not
and that
hold
was
up.
awful.
It was so bad. It did not hold up. Okay, well, congratulations. I'm glad you guys finally got it.
Joel wants to know what he wins, Lindsay.
I told you, you get flowers.
You gotta tell Joel. that.
Flowers to you, Joel. Joel, let me start again. Hold on. let me start over, okay? You ready? Joel, congratulations. You won the trivia question, and here are all the flowers for you.
He wants a diehard
Thumbs up.
membership. Hey, those flowers and $59.99 will get you a diehard membership.
Oh my gosh.
I was trying. Listen, I'm doing the best I can. It's really hot in here right now.
Well,
Like,
you're
I
also
am-
wearing the thickest sweater
Okay,
ever.
but it's like 60 degrees outside. It's cold. It's not my fault.
And it's
Anyway.
80 degrees.
We need to go
here.
back to the the Underdog Fantasy app, y'all. And we need to read this ad. So it's the best place to combine fantasy sports and winning money. Ain't I right, Espo?
It is.
Tell us more.
Oh, you were looking for more.
Tell us more. Espo.
No, I
Do
love
tell.
I love Underdog. I've talked about it before, but I suck at our fantasy football league here this year. I get bored. I get bored real easy and really just don't care all that much. But with underdog fantasy, I don't have to care for a full season. I can care for 1 game, 2 games, a week. You can have a fantasy draft based on those. You can go head to head with your friends, put a little scratch in there. You get the money quick. I'm an instant gratification person, and that's what you get out of underdog fantasy. I also love their pick'em game, higher, lower, real simple. You can pick five different players on higher, lower on different stat totals. Get 20 times your money. That's the way I roll when it comes to gambling, and that's why I love the underdog fantasy app. It is a fun way to make these games more interesting. And I know if you use that code PHNX when you sign up, they will match your deposit up to, is it $100? Look at that, $100.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
All right, we got updates.
Wait, real quick before you start. Espo doesn't really pay attention to the fantasy league anymore because at first he was a little scared because he got on a little bit of a rut and he was looking at Waffle House right in the face and was like, all right, let me make some moves. He offered me a trade that I rejected because it was a trash trade. And I'm number 2 in our league anyway. Trades. And then he started winning a couple games, so he's not really in danger of that. But
that's not true.
Yeah.
I'm only a game back of Waffle House right now.
Enjoy that
Are
fucking
you?
waffle.
Yeah,
buddy.
I'm screwed. Look, the deal is if we lose,
did we ever tell them what's happening at Waffle House, or are we just talking about Waffle House and assuming they know what we're talking about?
I'll say it. Whoever loses our fantasy league has to spend 24 hours in a Waffle House, but they can take an hour of time off by eating a waffle. I'll be out in 1 hour. I'll just slam 23 waffles in 1 hour, and I'll go home. That's just the way it'll go.
Espo, 23 waffles in 1 hour? Do you think you're fucking what?
Low-key though, I feel like I could do it.
You know, give me 4 hours and I can do 20.
Maybe
Listen,
not. You're right. I'm being
buddy.
overly.
Listen, I know
24.
that you feel
Confident.
very proud
I feel
about
like I
your
could definitely
eating
take down quite
ability,
a few
but
hours.
I'm going to say this. Every time Espo and I have gone to like a nice dinner restaurant, Espo always orders like something like small, tiny, petite.
That's because I'm cheap. That doesn't have anything to do with my eating prowess. All right. I ate 6 pancakes at IHOP this morning in 15 minutes. Like, I'm getting out of Waffle House pretty damn fast, is what I'm saying.
I don't know. I feel like I could definitely, if it was a competition and I had, like, I knew I was going to be hurting afterwards, but I needed to get out of a Waffle House, I feel like I could at least eat 5 in an hour.
Look, I'm going to tell you, by hour 4, I will have finished the amount of waffles I need to get out of there. I will have 20 done in 4 hours. Like, I don't think that's a problem.
Or you think so?
Yeah.
Okay, if this happens.
Nobody said I couldn't go throw them up if I needed to either. Whatever it takes to get out of there.
If this happens, then we're making a bet on a bet.
Oh, well, I sure.
You're making a bet on a bet. We should totally do that.
I hope I can. I hope I can
I'm
avoid
on your
it.
side. I feel like you could pull it off. I really do. I think that's true.
Dude, you guys are crazy. There's no way.
There's no way in hell. Okay, first of all, fucking Gerald.
Emma, just
Gerald's
because you
here,
weigh 12 pounds.
Give me a second.
I don't know. I really feel like I could take some waffles down.
That's exactly how it goes, Connor. Espo to the waitress. I'll just take some ice cubes.
They're cheap.
I don't know, man. 24 is a lot, but I feel like I could definitely knock some time off of it.
I have faith that I'm not going to finish last because I've seen Bo and I've seen Shearston play fantasy football, and even me on autopilot, I think I can take care of business. So
I don't know. Well, guys,
All right.
have no fear. Gerald is here.
is he?
In the darkness, beyond the light, there shall only be one. Welcome to
I'm getting that on a shirt, just so you know.
I'm still not prepared for it, even though I know it's coming every single time now.
Uh-oh. We can hear you, Gerald, just fine, but just know that you're coming in very, very glitchy right now. So.
Okay, but you can hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, you're just fine.
It's because he got that sweater on tonight. Yeah, that's why it's glitchy.
Does Mr. Rogers know you stole a sweater?
I'm not even going to answer that. I'm not going to dignify.
That's okay. We found out that Steve from fucking Blues Clues is right here next to us, so it's all good.
Gerald, haters gonna hate. That's all I'm saying. You and I look fly as hell tonight, okay? Just know that.
Thank you, and we're comfy too.
Exactly. And nice and cozy and warm.
She's hot.
I'm a
She's
little bit
like-
warm. But
she's
that's not because of the sweater. That's
starting
because
to
his office
sweat
is
over
a
here.
little warm right now. They got the heat on in here. Anyway, Gerald, talking Suns basketball, Deandre Ayton had himself another night. What did Monty and his teammates say about his performance?
Yeah, so it was funny. Book joked. He said, "I don't know what he ate for Thanksgiving, but I wish I had went over there to his house for dinner because it's incredible when he has stellar performances like that and back-to-back nights." And that was Monty's big thing is, he called him a monster to have back-to-back nights where he plays that well. And he said, he'll come in here and he'll tell you guys sometimes like, Monty's on me or this is why he's riding me. And Monty said, like, this is why, because we know what he's capable of and we're continuing to call him up because we know that this should be the standard. And DA even agreed with it after the game. He was saying this should be the norm for me. So really impressive performance from him. He was saying that he can't be a guy that eases into the game. He has to come out and have a strong performance from the start. And that's what he's done the last two nights. So it's encouraging to see that.
All right, Gerald, before I get to my question, Jason came hard at you. He said, Gerald, quote, "Give me a sweet potato, but make it a sweater."
That was a good one, Jason. That was a really good one.
I mean, I've gotten lots of compliments on the sweater tonight, so I don't know.
Connor Brum
So yeah, suck it, Jason.
Connor Brum said girth looking like pumpkin spice.
Hey, Howard says nice fit, quit hating. So we'll quit hating.
Okay.
A man that I'm not hating about is one Jock Landell. He gets on the court in the fourth quarter, the first time we've seen him in a long time. What was Monty's wheel of reasoning tonight and that got Jock on the court?
Yeah, he was saying they were looking for a spark. They were looking for some type of injection of energy. They needed someone who could finish in the pick and roll that wasn't Deandre Ayton because they were really struggling in that regard. Biz didn't have a great night tonight, obviously. So, he was saying he called himself a hypocrite because before the game I had asked him about Josh Okogie, and he was talking about, guys like Josh and Jock who their minutes have kind of fluctuated, and it's tough to find minutes for, 11 guys who are all working their asses off and deserve to be on the court. So he was saying, I'm kind of a hypocrite for talking about that before the game and then turning right back around and playing Jock again for the first time in like 3 or 4 games. But it paid off. He was saying it's one of those moves. I didn't know if it was going to work or not, but you look like a genius after the fact for going to it. He did say that he could very well go back to Biz next game. But, for a team that was looking for answers in the fourth, Landale really provided them tonight.
Listen, overall, Devin Booker, not the greatest of nights. Shooting was very subpar, 8 for 27. Does he look like he's a little worn down or tired? He's logged some heavy minutes of late. What is your take on that?
Yeah, I think so. And I think tonight was one of kind of the rare nights where it felt like he was forcing it a little bit. He didn't have it going. He changed his shoes at halftime and joked after the game, like, yeah, I've done that a couple of times. Shit didn't work tonight, but I tried. We did ask Monty about it, and he was saying, playing him 39 minutes on the second night of a back-to-back, again, that's not something he wants to do. It's just something that's kind of where they're at. He was able to contribute in other areas. He did have the 11 rebounds, 4 of which were offensive. He had 7 assists, and he still did get up points, even though it was on the same number of shots. So obviously not a great shooting night for him, but he was able to impact the game in other ways. And his defense was pretty good for the most part until he started to, look a little worn down.
Yeah, I thought Colin Sexton was kind of trying to give him the business a little bit in the first half on about 3 straight possessions. And then after that, Booker shored up the D real quick. But yeah, I'll tell you what, Colin Sexton, for a glimpse there, I was like, holy shit, this dude is he's playing all-star level right now. What's going on? But he kind of came back down to earth, or came back down to girth, whatever you want to say it.
Hey.
Okay, so you mentioned Book playing 39 minutes tonight. Obviously, would love to see those minutes come down a little bit for him, especially since they've been so high for quite a while now. But on the flip side, we saw Deandre Ayton play 34 minutes, which is a little bit higher than what he normally has. How are you feeling about kind of that extra load, if you will, on DA's shoulders? Or did anybody mention DA being able to handle this? Because I know conditioning has been something we've talked about with DA for a while around the minutes side of things.
Yeah, it is. And Monty was quick to call this out as well. He was saying a lot of people don't know this, but the work that he's putting in during crazy hours at night, going into the gym, into their practice facility, working with their trainer, Corey Vincent, on conditioning. Monty was saying that's something that allowed him to not only play 34 minutes tonight, but play such a productive 34 minutes. You know, he was taking a lot of shots. He got 8 offensive rebounds. He was crashing the glass hard. He came up with that steal in the fourth quarter there, that in the final minute or so, that really helped the Suns stay ahead there. He was making big time plays, and you could tell he was gassed near the end, but you know, I don't know if he would have been able to play such a heavy load of minutes and be that productive without that type of work that he's putting in behind the scenes. So Monty was quick to praise him for that. And DA joked, he was like, yeah, I don't know about crazy hours. That might just be 9 or 10 p.m. for Monty, but he is working on, he did say he is working on that. And it's something that's important to him because, you know, with the physicality that he wants to bring to the table, getting to the free throw line more, putting his shoulder into guys and talking about how gratifying it is to start getting calls now because of it, like you need to be in good shape. And so he's definitely putting in the work there.
So what you're saying is the Monty DA relationship has moved to the we can make jokes about each other phase. So everything's good now, I think.
Yes, I think so. And I, honestly, the other night after DA had a really big, that really big incident with Patrick Beverley and was talking about keeping his composure, he talked a lot about how we play for Monty Williams, and it's something that he's instilled in us, that long-term approach of not doing anything to miss time. And he talked really positively about Monty. So I was kind of struck by that, how far we've come just from a few months ago when the big storyline was, you know, are Monty and DA even talking to each other? And now you've got DA, you know, unprovoked kind of saying these positive things about Monty and Monty joking about DA and vice versa. Like that relationship seems about as good as it's ever been. And I think that game 7 was what they said it was all along, just a bad day.
Yeah, but Papa Williams probably also said actions have consequences. So, you know, let's not let him all off the hook there, Pat Bev. So,
like, you brought up Pat Bev, though. Do you think that moment was a bit of an igniter for DA? The chat brought that up earlier, but that was a moment that since then DA has played very engaged and very physical in ways.
It might be. And, you know, he was talking about how he loved the fourth quarter of that game because of all the trash talk going back and forth, the physicality, the way they were kind of sticking it to each other. Obviously, you don't want to see a guy get shoved in the back like that, but it did seem to have an effect on waking him up. I do think he's been playing well for a handful of games, not just the last 2, obviously, but yeah, when you have a moment like that kind of galvanizes you as a team, and DA was talking about how it meant a lot to him for his teammates to come over and calm him down because they didn't want, you know, a suspension or a fine or anything bad for their guy. Like, those are big time things that kind of fly under the radar, and maybe they have kind of lit the spark that we were hoping to see from DA in the last few weeks.
So I see on your Twitter here that you guys brought up the Amari stat line of like the 28 and 20, similar to what DA had tonight. Can you give us more insight into how DA responded to that?
Yeah, he was saying, you know, I remember watching him when I was a kid. So he's grown up watching stat, and he was saying he definitely dunked the ball more than me, but I'm trying. Like he's working on it, and he's had a couple of great posters the last few games that have been very Amari-esque in the way that he kind of takes the contact with his body, rises up, and finishes with one hand. So yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. I think, you know, when you talk about a guy being more physical, the fact that he can get that high and elevate that high when he plants both of his feet and is going downhill, like there's not a lot of guys that are going to be able to challenge that. So if he's kind of flipped that switch of realizing like, shit, if I catch the ball here and I've got 2 feet down, I'm going to rise up. Like he's going to catch somebody on a poster soon.
We're all ready to see it. So hopefully we get it sooner rather than later. Gerald, thank you so much. We appreciate you always calling in.
Absolutely. You guys have a good one.
I got to answer a question for Matt in the chat. He's asked multiple times. I wasn't ignoring you. There just wasn't a good time. The jersey in the background, not a Xavier McDaniel. It's a Charles Barkley, custom made from Royal Retros. Check them out if you want to. That's a free plug, but that's where I got that jersey. So
all right. Well, there you go. I guess I could have said goodbye with Gerald on the show.
Probably
We
could.
probably
We
could've.
talked about that.
Yeah.
We did.
We
Like I
literally
literally
talked
talked about it
about it.
last night. But, whatever. I forgot. So we'll say goodbye to you guys now. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you. We are going to be off tomorrow, but we'll be back on Monday. We got another Suns game to cover,
8 p.m.
which means we will be live 30 minutes before tip-off and live again, of course, after the game wraps up to break it all down with you. Thank you again for tuning in. Hope you have a great Sunday. Until we see you next, you can follow me on Twitter at LindsaySmithAZ. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
Just remember, the Phoenix Suns are the best team in the Western Conference, and they're coming for the rest of the NBA. Ahoy, hoy.
Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though, Lindsay, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball, we here to turn up the tempo. Got to understand me, I'll always rep the family. Rally in the valley like Dan G, no plan B. Always on the job, my team move.